8 versus 6 versus 0, basically this is 6. Ayan yung reason kung bakit 6 ang nakalagay dito. I hope you get it, guys. Now, next natin nakukuhanin is the EMV of the survey. Okay, what is the EMV ng survey? Ito itong part na ito. How do we come up with 7.42? Actually, ito po yan. No, itong part na yan. EMV of the survey ang tawag dyan. And ang pinanggalingan ng computation is the sum product nito, 0.58 times 12.54 plus 0.42 times 0.35. That is for the conduct. Yes, hello everyone. So welcome to our next topic regarding decision analysis, especially the second model, the decision trees with revised probabilities. So actually, we're done with decision trees with conditional probability, and that is related somehow on this second model of our chapter regarding decision analysis. Okay, so let's have our discussion. Again, model 2, decision trees with revised probabilities. So this model actually requires a series of decisions. That's why it is under the decision tree nga, no? Series of decisions, dugtong-dugtong na decision-making process. So for this model, the decision trees with revised probabilities will be presented with the following conditions. First condition is the payoff for each alternative is known. Second condition, the prior priority of occurrence of the state of market and state of nature is just the same, and that is known, no, as the second na condition natin with this model number 2. And for the third condition, the conditional probability on the result of the survey given the state of nature is known. That's why I have said before that conditional probability is somehow related to revised probabilities. Later on, you will appreciate the relationship of these two model quantitatively, no, sa ating solutions. Okay? So, lastly, as part of our condition for the fourth one, the cost of the sample information is known. Now, what is this cost of sample information? I will definitely define it later, no, and anong relationship niya sa pagbuo ng decision trees natin with revised probabilities. So, revised probability, ano pa muna? Now, before tayo mag-proceed sa decision trees with revised probability, ano muna yung term na revised probability? Actually, a posterior probability in Bayesian statistics, I hope you are familiar with this branch of the statistics. This is the revised or updated probability. Guys, take note sa term updated probability of an event occurring after taking into consideration the new information. Meaning to say, yung information natin before, okay na yon, nagawa natin decision trees nun, and we have now the new information na available. And if that information available will be considered in our decision making, ano yung magiging impact niya sa existing na decision trees natin, sa existing na model natin. No, that's why it is called updated probability, and that is the revised probability. That's why it's called revised. Okay, I hope malinaw sa inyo yun. In statistical terms, the posterior probability, again, posterior probability is just the same with revised probability. This is the probability of an event A occurring given that event B has occurred. No, ano yung probability na mangyari yung isang event given na merong nangyaring isang event? Ganun siya, no? That is posterior probability. Okay, so we have here an example regarding the Procter & Gamble's tide. Actually, this is the same na example sa ating conditional probability, ang ating model 1 under decision analysis. But continuation. Okay, so Alfred, the product manager of Tide, was able to determine the conditional probabilities of a survey was conducted on the market. If a survey was conducted on the market, the result of the survey was either positive or negative, of course. If the market is successful, the probability is 80% that the survey was positive and 20% that the survey was negative. If the market is failure, the probability is 25% that the survey is positive and 75% that the survey was negative. The prior probability is 60% that the market is successful and 40% that the market is a failure. Guys, before we continue the problem, when we say prior probability, this is the probability of occurrence ng market na yun. No? So, more likely, this is coming from the historical data na meron sila. So, sa historical data nila, 60% naging successful naman yung market and the other way around, 40% failure. So, that is the basis of this prior probability. So, the figures are summarized on the next slide and the question is, what is the probability that the market is successful given a positive survey? Nakuha? So, again, what is the probability that the market is successful given a positive survey? What if the survey is negative? So, what is the probability that the market is a failure given a positive survey? What is the survey is negative? This is what if. No? So, sorry for the typographical error. What if the survey is negative? So, that is our problem. No? Procter & Gamble style. Now, for the summary of the figures, ito po siya. As you can see here, sir, ang topic natin is revised probability. Bakit yung title ng table mo is conditional probability? Dahil again, no, when we say revised probability, there must be an event na mangyayari muna before mangyari yung certain na event na isa pa. That's why, manggagaling po tayo sa conditional probability na matrix. Okay? So, here, we have the P of survey and vertical line market. So, what does this mean? Mathematically speaking, guys, this is read as probability of the market, probability of the survey given the certain market condition. Okay? Example, probability of a positive survey given, so take note, yung vertical line natin is given that the market is successful. So basically, that is 0.8 by just simply checking our table. Okay, so next, the probability of a negative survey given a successful market. Basically, that is 0.20 and so on and so forth. So we have here 0.25, 0.75, and the prior probability for successful type of market, 0.6, and for the failure type of market, 0.4. So that is our given conditional probabilities. Okay? So now, actually, we can actually move on to answering the probabilities na question dito sa ating last part ng problem. No, ulitin ko, what is the probability that the market is successful given a positive survey? What if the survey is negative? What is the probability that the market is a failure given a positive survey? What if the survey is negative? Pwede tayo mag-move on dyan, guys. Pwede na yan. Pero, it is actually basic na i-convert muna natin, I think, yung table natin into a decision tree para mas ma-evaluate natin and mas ma-visualize natin paano ba tayo mag-come up sa ating final na decision. Okay? So, regarding the decision tree, I have here first the square node. Again, square node, this is the decision node. And the circle one is the event node. Wag pong kakalimutan. So, decision tree, we have here the square. And this is followed by a circle. No? So, let's connect this. Ano itong circle? Sir, bakit may circle dyan? Ito po ang magsiserve as the first survey natin, which is the positive. Ito po. Okay, so let's connect this first. Okay, so next, given this node is for positive, let's write it here na lang. Ayan, positive. And we have here the payoff. And of course, itong positive na yan, diba, kung babalikan natin yung table, we have type of market na successful and failure. Okay? This is the payoff. So, i-connect natin ito sa ating circle na node, sa event node. Again, event node is also called as the chance node. Okay, so let's make this history. Okay, so sa taas, this is successful. Okay, successful, and the probability of success, as you can see on our table, that is 0.6. So let's go to our decision tree. This is 0.6. Sa baba natin, we have failure. Okay, so the failure prior probability is 0.4. So let's write it here, 0.4. And of course, sa payoff. Payoff of what? Payoff of the successful and failure type of market under positive survey. And if we will going to check it on the table, that is 0.8 and 0.25. So let's write it here, 0.8, 0.25. Okay? So next, of course, if we have the positive one, meron tayong negative. So, ito po yung magiging negative natin. Let's connect it here. Ayan. Okay, so negative. Let's write negative. Okay. So, for the negative, just the same with this positive survey, we also have this branch natin for the successful one and for the failure. So, connect lang natin sila sa ating event node. That's right, successful. Okay. And the probability is just the same. This is the prior probability, 0.6 for successful. For the failure, guys, this is 0.4. Okay, for the payoff, as you can see on the table, we have 0.2 and 0.75. So, 0.2 and 0.75. Now, if we will going to have the solution, no? Try natin yung solution. Actually, itong decision tree natin, pwede tayong mag-come up sa isang idea kung ano ba dapat yung susundin natin. Yung ano ba dapat yung magiging solution natin dito. No, pwede yan. Pero kung titingnan mo kasi yung tanong, hindi ayun yung hinahanap eh. Ang hinahanap kasi more on probability, not ano yung decisions. We're just doing this decision tree para makita natin how do we come up with the decision. Kasi po, related po ito sa next na problem natin. That's why ginawa muna natin siya ngayon. Okay, pero for now, sige, tapusin natin yung decision tree. This is some product. No? I hope you still remember. 0.6 times 0.8 plus 0.4 times 0.25. Let's go to our calculator and compute the value of this sum product. Okay, so we're now here on our calculator. So again, let's type 0.6 multiplied to 0.8 and add this sa product naman ng probability of failure prior probability, which is 0.4, and sa payoff niya no 0.25. So some product, guys, don't forget it. Answer is 0.58. So let's write here on our positive na event node 0.58. So let's write it here 0.58. Next, for the negative one, let's go to our calculator and write it there, 0.6 times 0.2 plus 0.4 times 0.75. So, clear natin ito. 0.6 times 0.2 plus 0.4 times 0.75. I hope you guys are also computing. No? Sana sinasabayan nyo ako para ma-master nyo ang solution. Okay, so we have 0.42. So let's write it here, 0.42 sa ating second circle or what we call the event node, 0.42. Now, 0.58 versus 0.42, ang kukunin po natin dito is the bigger value. Okay, which is the 0.58. So, this will be the decision. But since, again, we just do this decision tree for the sake of visualization, and this is not the goal of our problem. No, mamaya magagamit natin itong 0.58 na yan. For now, move on tayo sa determination ng revised probability. What we do kasi is just the conditional probability, and the topic nga is not the conditional probability but rather the revised probability. Again, conditional probability is just a part of revised probability. So now let's go on the determination of the revised probabilities. First one is the joint probabilities. Okay? So joint probabilities based on result of survey and type of market. So for the formula sa joint probability, this is actually computed by the P, which is the probability of the survey and market. Guys, take note ha, and dapat ito, not or. Kasi nga, we are speaking about joint probability. So, ano yung probability na mag-occur yung survey and market, no? Based on result of survey and type of market. Kaya siya joint yung tinatawag. Ano po yung solution or rather the formula for that? So, the formula for that is the probability of the survey given the type of market. Ayun yung una. Then, anong gagawin dyan? That will be multiplied to the probability of the market. Ang magiging product po nila, again, the product will be the probability of survey and market. Okay? Now, let's have two market here, type of market, which are the successful and the failure. So, paano siya mako-compute? For the first one, probability of the survey given the specific market multiplied to probability of the market under ng successful. So, let's go to our table. Nasaan po yun? No? Probability, ito, positive, tapos successful. 0.8 times yung ating 0.6 na probability ng market. Okay? Again, ulitin ko, no? Etong 0.8 po, this will be the probability of survey, which is in our case positive, given the market, in our case successful market. And this 0.6 will be the probability of the market. So 0.8 times 0.6, that will be the first part of our solution. So 0.8 times 0.6. So basically, guys, this 0.8 and 0.6, let's go to our calculator. 0.8 times 0.6, 0.48. So that is the first na compute natin. We have here 0.48. Now, sa second naman tayo na successful, no, sa negative naman, which is 0.2 tapos 0.6. Okay, so let's write it here. 0.2 times 0.6. And this is equals to, go sa ating calculator, we have 0.2 times 0.6. That is 0.12. So let's write it here, 0.12. Ganon din ang gagawin sa failure. Again, probability of survey given specific market condition multiplied to the probability of the market condition, the prior probability. So, the failure naman tayo, 0.25, probability of the survey given the market, which is in our case, positive survey, failure market, times the prior probability, which is 0.4. So, 0.25 times 0.4. Let's write it here. 0.25 times 0.4. Okay, so balik tayo sa calculator. And lagay natin dito. 0.25 times 0.4. That is 0.1. So, lagay natin dito, 0.1. Next, sa ating table, we have 0.75 times 0.4. So, let's write it here, 0.75 times 0.4. RQ 0.75 times 0.4. Answer is 0.3. Okay? Now, we have here guys the summary for the table, no, ng ating mga probabilities dahil ito talaga yung hinahanap ng problem eh. So, ilagay natin dito. For the table, yung 0.48 na nakuha natin sa successful, actually, dito po siya. No? Joint probability, 0.48. If the probability of survey given a market condition positive to successful, 0.48 yun. Tapos itong 0.12 naman, dito natin ilalagay. Okay. Then next, 0.1 tapos 0.3 for failure. So 0.1, 0.3. Okay, I hope that is clear with you. Sir, ano yun dito? Type of market. Actually, this is just the same sa ating given. Oops, nasulatan. I-delete lang natin, ha? Yan. Okay, so actually, parehong-pareho lang yan sa ating given. So, let's go back to our given problem na table ng conditional probabilities. Again, 0.8, copy-paste lang po natin. 0.25, 0.2, and 0.75. So, let's have here 0.8, 0.25, 0.2, and 0.75. Okay? I hope malinaw po sa inyo. This is just the same sa given. Ang nako-compute pa lang natin for now is the joint probability under the revised probabilities. We still have the posterior probability. Kasi po yung nasa prior probability natin na values are just the 0.6 and 0.4. So ilagay na natin dito, no? 0.6 pareho lang po yan sa positive and negative. Tapos 0.4 sa failure. So let's now compute for the posterior probability. But before we compute for the posterior probability, guys, we need to have first, no, ito pa lang muna yung probability of the survey. So, paano siya mako-compute? That is our second part of the determination of revised probability. So, the probabilities of the survey based on the type of market. Wherein, sa ating table, ito siya, 0.48 tapos 0.1. We just need to solve for the sum nito. So, ito siya, 0.48 tsaka 0.1. That is 0.48 plus 0.1. Basically, this is 0.58. Next, 0.12 plus 0.3 or dito sa table, 0.12 plus 0.3. Let's compute dito. 0.12 plus 0.3. This is 0.42. So, ang probabilities of the survey based on the type of market is 0.58 and 0.42. Sulat natin dito, no? 0.58 and 0.42. So, that is the probability of the survey. Probability of positive survey, 0.58. Probability of the negative survey, 0.42. This is actually the same sa nakuha po natin na values ng ating decision trees. Ayan, no? 0.58 tapos 0.42. Ayun yung connection nila ng decision tree conditional probability sa revised probabilities. But this is not the whole revised probability dahil doon ang consider natin is the posterior probability. Okay, now, for the posterior probabilities, we have the successful and failure. Same with other part of the matrix. Solve natin yan. No? For the posterior probabilities, based on result of the survey. No, paano siya? And type of market, ito. Paano po yun? Basically, that is 0.48 divided by 0.58. Ayun yung una. So, isulat natin. 0.48 divided by 0.58. This is 0.83. Saan siya? Since ito yung cell na yan, positive to successful, dito natin siya ilalagay. No, 0.83 0.83 ang revised probability or the posterior probabilities for positive market and positive survey and successful na market. Okay? And for the next one, for the 0.1, ito, failure tayo, divided by 0.58. Sa total lang siya, no? 0.1 divided by 0.58. This is 0.17. So, mayroon tayong ditong value, 0.17. Next, 0.12 divide 0.42. Divided by 0.42. This is equivalent to 0.29. Okay? So, let's write it here. 0.29. Next, 0.30. Nasaan yun? Ito. Divide 0.42. So, basically, kukunin mo lang yung content nito as the raw or the numerator natin, then this will be the denominator. So, 0.3 divided by 0.42. This is equivalent to 0.71. 0.71. Okay, so as you can see guys, 0.83 successful, kaya 0.17 na failure, this is equivalent to 1. Okay, for the positive na survey. And for the negative, 0.29 plus 0.71, this is also equivalent to 1. Okay, and this is our revised probabilities. Now, let's finalize the answers for our question. For the first part ng ating question, what is the probability that the market is successful given a positive survey? Ito yung unang part ng tanong eh. Ito. What is the probability that the market is successful given a positive survey? 4 yan, bale. No? So, i-compute natin or rather, sagutan natin siya. Probability that the market is successful given a positive survey. Let's go to our revised probability table. Successful given positive survey. So, meaning 0.83 or basically this is equivalent to 83%. Okay, now, the next question is, if naman ang ating survey is negative. So, ano yung probability ng market na successful given na negative ang ating survey? So, market is successful given negative survey, that is 0.29 or 29%. Okay, so for the third one, what is the probability that the market is a failure given a positive survey? So, let's go sa ating table. Failure given positive na survey, 17%. 0.17. 17%. And next, the last one, what is the probability that the market is a failure given a negative survey? Nasaan naman po yun? Failure given a negative survey, 0.71 or basically 71%. So, ayan ang answers natin sa first part ng ating first set rather ng ating example. Dahil we still have our second example, kadugtong po ito, this is still part of the revised probability or the second model natin. No? Procter & Gamble pa rin, Tide. Kadugtong, Alfred, the product manager of Tide, is planning to conduct a survey before making a decision on what product to launch. Di ba meron silang mga iba't ibang series ng products to launch? So, the cost of the survey is given, $1,000. So, the figures are summarized on the next slide. Now, the question is, i-conduct ba nila yung survey? Should Alfred conduct the survey? How much gain or loss will he expect for the company if he will conduct the survey or not? And what will be his decision if the survey is positive? And what if the survey is negative? Yung naging result. What is the expected value of the sample information? So, dito na papasok si EVSI. So, ano itong EVSI? Later on, we'll discuss that EVSI. Kung ano ito, no? So, for now, let's have our given na table. Ito po siya. So, we have the Tide with Sunrocks as our first product. Possible product to launch. 20 ang payoff niya for a successful market. By the way, again, all this data is in $1,000. So, meaning $20,000 ang payoff if ever na they will choose to launch the Tide with Zonrox and if the market becomes successful. Now, if they will choose to launch Tide with Zonrox and the market becomes a failure, so they will lose $18,000, negative 18. Okay? And for the Tide with Downy, 12. For successful, for failure is negative 3. If they will choose to do nothing, that will be 0 and 0. Now, the prior probability as stated on our previous problem, 0.6 and 0.4. We have this cost of survey or what we call the CS para mas maikli siya, which is 1 or $1,000. Saan po ito nanggaling? Sa ating problem pa rin. We have $1,000. I hope you get it, guys. Now, for the first part of our solution here, we should first set up the net payoff. What is this net payoff? No? A net payoff, guys, this is the payoff na kino-consider natin ang ating cost of survey. Ano yung cost of survey? How much? 1 or $1,000. So, meaning to say, all of this cell, kung ano man yung values niyan, i-adjust po natin sila dahil may madadagdag sa ating cost for now dahil magsa-survey nga tayo. No? So, meaning, yung expected na payoff natin, mababawasan na siya. That's why I have written here with survey. Dahil yung naunang payoff is walang survey, yung normal na payoff given by the problem. Okay, so meaning to say, etong 20, 12, negative 18, at negative 3, magdededuct pa tayo ng 1 dyan. Okay, so 20, 12, this is 0, this is negative 18, negative 3, and 0. Magdededuct tayong lahat dyan ng 1. Saan nang galing yung 1? Ito, cost of survey. So, minus 1, minus 1, minus 1, minus 1, minus 1. Answers will be 19, 11, negative 1, this is negative 1, negative 3 minus negative 1 is negative 4, negative 18 minus negative 1 is negative 19. So, this will be our net payoff, guys. So, ayan. Dahil nag-compute na tayo agad, no, hindi ko na naisulat yung formula. Basically, net payoff is yung payoff sa original na table natin minus the CS. Okay, so now the next thing na we need to do is of course to construct the decision tree. Dahil ito medyo no? Medyo marami-rami na dahil ang naging scenario natin ngayon is whether to conduct the survey first or not to conduct. If to conduct, nag-iba na yung table. Diba? Ayun yung kinumpute natin nung nakaraan eh. Ito na yung bago. If to conduct survey, ito yung payoff na gagamitin. If we will choose not to conduct the survey, ito naman ang payoff na gagamitin, yung original. So, the question is, saan ang gagawin natin? No? To conduct or not? If to conduct, ano yung magiging implication niya? Monetary. And if not, anong impact din? No, ayun yung kailangan natin gawin. That's why we need to have the decision tree para mas madali tayo makapag-decide. Okay? So, for the decision tree, of course, first we need to have our decision here and yung pinanggalingan niya, again, that is to whether to construct or to not to construct or conduct, no? Construct tuloy. So, ilagay natin dito, conduct. Okay, so conduct a survey. Okay, so next, if we conduct the survey, guys, if we conduct the survey can actually result into a positive or negative na output. No, and ito yung gagawin natin doon. Ito yun, that's why we have here the decision node. Okay, na manggagaling sa iba't ibang mga products natin. So, this is the first one is the positive and the negative. Now, we actually have the probability dito na na-compute natin nung una. The probability for a positive survey can actually be seen sa ating revised probabilities na table. Ito po, yung sa unang problem. And that is 0.58. So, we can write that 0.58 dito sa decision tree na to. So, we have here 0.58. And for the negative one, balik ulit tayo sa revised probabilities. That is 0.42. Bakit sir ito yung kinuha? Dahil again, this is the probability of the survey. What survey? Positive and negative. I hope that is clear. Now, lagyan natin 0.42. And dito, actually, the decision for this node will be coming from kung ano ba yung product na pipiliin nilang i-launch if ever positive. No? So, meaning to say, we will connect this to these 3 nodes. Okay, so connect. Ayan, so connected na. The first one is for the tide with zone rock. So, T with Z na lang nalagay ko. Second is for tide with downy. And the last one is for the do nothing. Now, meron pa ulit na kadugtong yan. Dahil sa sabi natin, di ba? Itong products na to, ang tide with zone rocks can still be successful sa market or failure. Meaning to say, yung mga nodes na to may kadugtong pa. That's why we have here the next na branch. And terminal na yan. Ayan na yung last natin. Terminal na. Okay. Ayan. So, connect lang. Okay. Now, for this one, successful, tapos failure, successful, failure, successful, failure. Now, for the success and failure of the market, meron pa rin tayong probabilities doon. No, hindi itong prior, but rather yung computed na probabilities po natin. Nasaan yun? Ito sa revised probabilities, which are nasa positive tayo, di ba, na decision tree, 0.83 and 0.17. So, let's write it here, 0.83 and 0.17. 0.83 and 0.17, 0.83, 0.17. I hope you get it, guys. Now, under ng negative, if ever na nag-turns out na ang ating survey na kinonduct natin will be negative, syempre, may pinanggalingan din siya na itong decision node na yan, which is yung tatlong product din natin. Meaning to say, ilalagay din po natin almost the same dito, magkakaiba lang sila sa probabilities na meron sila. No, so, i-connect po natin yan dito. So, connect this, connect, and connect. Okay. Again, tide with zone rocks, tide with downy, and do nothing. For tide with zone rocks, syempre, meron pa rin siyang dalawa na pwedeng mangyari. Kapag ni-launch, no? Pwedeng successful or failure. Same with tide with downy. Pwedeng successful or failure. And kapag do nothing, pwede pa rin, no? Successful or failure. And connect natin lahat yan sa ating mga chance nodes or event nodes. Same lang po yun. Now, for the probabilities neto, since this is successful, failure, successful, failure, successful, and failure, for the probabilities niyan, let's go sa ating revised probabilities. That's why revised yung tawag, no? Kasi ginagamit natin, ito yung na-revise na mga numbers sa ating decision tree. No, for the final na decision making, if ever na we will conduct a survey or not, and for the solution ng ating monetary na value. So, again, ang hinahanap natin for now is the probabilities, which is negative tayo, no? Nasa decision tree tayo na negative. Negative, tapos yung success tsaka failure. So, negative, posterior, no? Posterior ang point of view. Negative, tapos yung posterior na successful or failure, which is 0.29 and 0.71. So let's write it here. 0.29, 0.71, 0.29, 0.71, 0.29, ayan na, 0.29, and 0.71. Ayan. Ayaw pag marito. Medyo magulo. 29 and 71. Next. So, we're now done, guys, for having our decision tree sa part ng conduct. This is to conduct. No? Iko-conduct nila yung tawag dito, yung survey. If none naman, let's have our node here. Why we used the decision node? Dahil this time, we will going to have the decision na agad na wala na kasing survey dahil meaning kung wala na survey, there will be no positive and negative na output. Ang next na natin dito is yung mga products tied with zone rocks, tied with downy, and do nothing. That's why yung nandito agad is decision node, not a chance node or the event node. I hope you get it. So let's connect this. So dito walang survey. So none. And our next nodes are yung tatlo. Then connect natin. We have here, guys, tied with zone rocks. The second one is tied with downy. So for the tied with zone rocks, still meron tayo dito na possibility na mag-successful siya or mag-fail siya. So, connect natin yung dalawa and that is the last one. That's why terminal na yung gamit natin dito. Terminal node na. And for the tied with downy, of course, pwede pa rin yan na maging successful or same sa tied with zone rocks, maging failure. And i-connect natin sila. So, success or failure. Let's write it here. Okay. Now, ano naman yung magiging probability for this, guys? Success tsaka failure. Na, this is, walang survey. Actually, manggagaling po yan sa binigay na ating payoff. Nasaan yung payoff na yun? Ito. No? Which is 0.6 at 0.4. Walang adjusted. Hindi ito ang gagamitin. Dahil, again, this is for with survey. Okay? So, 0.6. Let's have here 0.6 kapag success. Kapag failure, 0.4. So, 0.6 tapos 0.4. Now, as you can see, ang node natin sa pangatlo is not an event node, but rather a terminal one. Dahil nga, balikan ulit natin, this is for do nothing. I hope you still remember our model number 1 under decision analysis, no, yung conditional probabilities, decision trees with conditional probability. Doon, kapag ang ginamit natin is 0 yung value ng successful, 0 din yung value ng failure, hindi natin siya ginagawa as additional branch, but rather, ginagawa natin siya as single branch na lang, and ang nakalagay doon is just 0. Since 0 din naman yung magiging value, again, any number multiplied into 0 is equivalent to 0. So, this will be 0 yung payoff na dyan. So, ayan. So, naglagay tayo ng payoff dito. Nakalimutan natin yung lahat ng payoff nito. So, to conduct, let's write the payoff. If we will go into conduct the market, ang magiging payoff po natin for successful is 19. For failure is negative 19 for zone rocks. For tied with downy, 11, tapos negative 4, then negative 1, negative 1. Let's write it here, guys. Again, conduct, tapos positive. No, positive ang nangyari. Positive or negative, pareho lang yung payoff. Dahil nag-conduct tayo, it will all be coming from the stable, no, positive or negative. Dahil yun yung survey. When it comes to market, successful and failure, don't get confused with that two different set of words, guys. Again, 19, negative 19, 11, negative 4, negative 1, negative 1 for both the positive and negative result of the survey. Okay, so let's write it here sa ating payoff. So this is 19. This is negative 19. this will be 11 and negative 4. So, negative $4 and negative 1, tapos another negative 1. And ulitin lang lahat for this negative na result ng ating survey. So, 19, negative 19, this is negative 19. Dito na yung negative sa unahan na, sorry. Ayan, negative 19 and 11. Tapos, we have negative $4 and negative 1 and negative 1. Okay? So, for the none, guys, somehow may iba yung payoff. Dahil dito sa walang survey, hindi tayo nagbawas no? Wala tayong nilagay na cost of survey. So, ito po ang ating magiging payoff. 20, negative 18, 12, and negative 3. And of course, yung 0. So, let's write it here. Let's have here 20. Tapos, negative 18. And 12. And lastly, we have negative 3. Okay, so this will be our decision 3. I think wag muna natin siyang sagutan for now. No, ulitin ko yung nangyari para makuha ninyo yung kabuuan. Sa decision 3 kasi guys, pabaliktad. Magsisimula tayo sa final. Ano ba yung final na decision? Bakit ganun yung naging final na decision? Dahil nanggaling siya sa choices natin, either to conduct the survey or wala tayong survey na gagawin. If nag-conduct, pwedeng maging positive yung result ng survey or not. Kapag positive, ano yung products? Tied with Sunrocks, tied with Downy, or wala, do nothing. And if ito yung mga products na yon, successful ba yan or failure? Kada isa. Same with negative. I hope nakakuha nyo yung structure kung bakit ganito nabuo yung decision 3 natin. Now, same with none. Pinagkaiba lang dito, wala na tayong positive or negative dahil wala namang survey. Kaya nagdiretso na siya sa choices natin sa mga products na possible na pagpilian, no? Pinagpilian nila na i-launch. I hope malinaw po doon. So, let's now have our computation. And this is just a simple sum product lang naman. No? And write natin. 0.83 times 19 plus 0.17 times negative 19. So, calculator. Let's have 0.83 times 19 plus we have 0.17 and negative 19. So, 0.17 times negative 19. Answer is 12.54. So, let's write it here. We have on our first na value, no, EMB. Let's have 12.54. 12.54. Okay. Next, 0.83 multiplied to 11 plus 0.17 multiplied to negative 4. Clear? 0.83 multiplied to 11 plus 0.17, ito po, times negative 4. So, 0.17 times negative 4. Answer is 8.45. So, let's write it here. $8.45. Next, 0.83 times negative 1 plus 0.17 times negative 1. So, let's go sa ating calculator. 0.83 times negative 1 plus 0.17 times negative 1. Answer is negative 1. So, negative $1. Next, for the negative part na tayo, 0.29 times 19 plus 0.71 times negative 19. So, 0.29 times 19 plus, let's write parenthesis here, plus 0.71 times negative 19. Answer is negative $7.98. So let's write it here, negative 7.98. So next, let's have 0.29 times 11 plus 0.71 times negative 4. So 0.29 times 11 plus 0.71 times negative 4. Answer is $0.35. So 0.35. So last, we have here under ng negative 0.29 times negative 1 times 0.71 times negative 1. So 0.29 times negative 1 plus 0.71 times negative 1. Answer is negative 1. Almost the same dito sa do natin natin. So, as you can see guys, no, itong negative 1 is equivalent dun sa cost of survey. Dahil wala kang ginawa wala kang nilunch. Ibig sabihin, gumastos ka lang para sa survey. Kaya siya nag-i-equal na 1. Okay, I hope nakuha ninyo na ganun yung idea. Next, for the wala tayong survey, 0.6 multiplied to 20 plus 0.4 multiplied to negative 18. So, let's write it here. 0.6 multiplied to the value na payoff, 20, plus we have 0.4 times sa negative 18 na payoff. Answer is 4.8. So, let's write 4.8 here. Positive, no? 4.8. Next, 0.6 times 12 and 0.4 times negative 3. So, ito na lang pala. Dahil pala, ito na lang kanina, hindi ko binuburan. change na lang. 12 tapos negative 3. And answer is 6 here. Okay, so let's write 6 here and yung kasunod kasi 0 na yun automatic. Now, the next thing guys is to have the EMV or the expected monetary value, the maximum EMV. 12.4 versus 8.45 versus negative 1. Basically, ang pipiliin natin is dun tayo sa 12.4. So, mas malaki. Okay? So, 12.54 pala. 12.4 tuloy. So, $12.54. Next, for the negative na result ng ating survey na kinundak, negative 7.98 versus 0.35 versus negative 1. What is the maximum here? Basically, the 0.35. So, 0.35. Now, dito naman, sa NaN, check natin. 4.8 versus 6 versus 0. Doon na tayo sa 6. Pinakamalaki, no? Maximum EMV, maximum expected monetary value. Now, for the positive versus negative, anong gusto natin dyan? Siyempre, doon tayo sa positive na result dahil meron siyang mas mataas na EMV which is 12.54. Now, this 12.54, guys, actually, hindi siya ganun kadali yung ginawa natin, no? Hindi siya ganun kadaling mag-decide. Dahil kung titignan ninyo, we have the probabilities. No, ito ay nanggaling sa table na ito, 0.58 at 0.42. Probabilities ng survey. No, under the revised probability na table natin. Meaning to say, hindi lang siya ganun kadali na pipili ka ano mas malaki dito dahil we have the we have the probabilities. So meaning magsa-sum product din po tayo dito. So 0.58 times 12.54 plus 0.42 times 0.35. So let's go sa ating calculator. Let's compute the value of this. So let's have 0.58 times ating 12.54 plus the product of 0.42 times 0.35. So the answer is 7.42 and that will be the value inside this node, guys. So 7.42. Now, ito na yung magbe-versus na ulit tayo. Since kung titingnan mo, wala namang probability to conduct and to none dahil ito nga yung decision na ginagawa nila. So, 7.42 versus 6, basically, this will be our answer. 7.42, mas malaki. Anong mga pinili natin? No, 7.42. And of course, nandoon tayo sa ito, no, mas malaki, 12.54. Ito. Ayan mga napipilian natin. 7.42. So, what does this decision tree means? Nice. Actually, no, itong decision tree na to, this is just a part ng ating solution para mapili natin yung ano ba yung decision natin mamaya. Na ano tayo muna, ito yung summary No, ito yung summary. Pero pwede nating ilagay yung ating computation siguro muna tayo at this moment na manual na para makita ninyo, para meron din kayong guide if ever na gagawa kayo ng notes. Kasi pag ganito lang, hindi nyo makita paano nakuha yung 12.54. Nakalimutan nyo pala kunyari, no, nasa product siya, paano to? Paano itong 7.42? Saan nakuha yun? Saan galing? Para meron kayong notes. So, I prepared this table ng net payoff. This is just the same with decision 3, pero naka-table 4. Dahil again nga, ulitin ko yung nabanggit ko last time, yung unang topic natin sa decision theory, actually pwede mo yun i-convert into decision trees. It just so happen na naka-basic na table siya, and kahit table lang kasi pwede mo na siyang masolve. Hindi mo na kailangan ng trees. Ito kasi yung ginagawa natin ngayon, napakarami na ng table, no, napakarami ng row and columns. That's why it is better to illustrate that using decision trees. Anyway, if you want, no, ilagay natin dito ang mga values nila. So, for this survey, ang options natin is to conduct or walang gagawin. No? So, conduct or none. For the result, etong conduct, pwede siya mag-positive. Diba? I hope na na-realize ninyo. Ito rin yung decision trees. Ginawa lang natin table. So, positive or negative. Okay? Negative. And dito, wala rin itong result. Kasi wala ka namang ginawa Wala siya result. So, the probability ng survey, let's go back dito, is 0.58 and 0.42. So, let's write here, 0.58, 0.42. Here, by probability ba tayo? No, walang binigay. So, times 1 lang natin. 100% probability ito to be considered. So, 1. For the product, we have tied with Zone Rocks. We have tied with Downy. And do nothing. So, same with this one. Tied with Zone Rocks. Tied with Downy. And do nothing. Tied with Zone Rocks. With ito. With tied with Downy and do nothing. Okay? So, for the type of market, this is just successful and failure. SNF na lang lagay ko, guys. Medyo mahaba pag buong word, no? Successful, failure, 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 successful, failure. Now, for the posterior probability neto, we can actually look at this sa ating nagawang decision trees a while ago. No? So, balikan natin ang decision trees na yon. Ito po siya. So, ang ating posterior probability is 0.83 tsaka 0.17 for positive. O, doon muna tayo sa positive. 0.83, 0.17, 0.83, 0.17, 0.83, 0.17. Now, for the negative, sa ating decision trees, that is 0.29 and 0.71. So, let's go sa ating table. 0.29, 0.71, 0.29, 0.71, 0.29, and 0.71. Now, for the none, no, wala tayong gagawin, walang survey, that is 0.6 and 0.4. So, let's go sa ating table. 0.6, 0.6, 0.4, 0.6, 0.4, 0.6, and 0.4. Okay, now for the net payoff, no, ang net payoff natin, almost the same ang ating, pareho talaga, not just almost, no, same ang ating net payoff for positive and negative, that is 19, negative 19, 11, negative 4, negative 1, negative 1. So, let's go sa ating table. Let's write here, 19, negative 19, 11, negative 4, negative 1, and negative 1. Ulitin ulit, no, for the negative na ating result. So, let's have 19, negative 19, 11, negative 4, negative 1, negative 1. For the payoff ng none, this is 20, negative 18, 12, negative 3, and dalawang 0 po ito dahil may successful tsaka may failure dyan. Okay, so let's write it here. 20, negative 18, 12, negative 3, 12, negative 3, and dalawang 0. So, that will be our net payoff. Okay guys, again, just to repeat, no, ang ginagawa po natin is we're trying to have the notes sa ating nakagawa na decision tree before. No, ito yung mga buong decision tree natin. Paano nakuha yan? Para meron kayong notes nyo na step by step pa rin. Anyway, ito yung summary. Tumingin lang kayo dyan. If alam nyo yung interpret, go na yan. No? Alam nyo na yan. Kaya na yan sa analysis. Sa deep analysis. Okay? So, we're done with this net payoff table. Ang ginawa natin after nun is to determine the expected monetary value or the EMV. So, we have the EMV for positive survey and for the negative survey. Basically, ito po yun. No, yung ito. Yan, for the positive survey, itong 12.54, 8.45, tsaka negative 1. Which is, nanggaling sila sa sum product itong mga numbers na yan. So, i-write lang natin dun for formality. So, that is 0. Oops, naka-block pa ang aking pen. Change natin into white. So, 0.83 times 19 plus 0.17 times negative 19. That is the 12.54. And next, ito naman, 0.83 tsaka 11, 17 tsaka negative 4. So, 0.83, actually 0.83 din dito, copy na natin. This is 11 plus 0.17. 17 yan ha. Yan. Ayan. So, lagyan na natin. And, ano yun? That is negative 4. Tapos sa baba, negative 1 pareho. So, let's have here negative 4. Dito, negative 1 and negative 1. Answer for this is 8.45 and negative 1. So, 8.45 and negative 1. Okay? So, don't forget na sa pagpili, lagi tayong maxed EMB ang pipiliin natin, no? In our case, 12.54 versus 8.45 versus negative 1. Basically, this is 12.54. Ayan. No? And that is for positive survey. For the negative survey, balik tayo sa ating decision tree dahil doon naman natin nakuha yung data. We're just doing this for formality and para may makuha kayo, may magawa tayong notes nyo, no? Step by step. So, balik tayo sa decision tree. Ito po ang decision tree natin. For the negative, our probabilities are 0.29 and 0.71. Isa-sum product po yan sa mga payoff natin. Okay, so in my case, lagay ko muna yung 0.29 and yung 0.71. So, 0.29, tatlo. 0.29. Oops, ayan. Okay. Plus 0.71. Ayan, para diretso multiplications na lang tayo. Oops. Dapat dito ay parenthesis. Okay. So, parenthesis. ang ating answer. Okay, for the value na sa loob ng parenthesis natin, that is 19 and negative 19, 11, negative 4, and dalawang negative 1. So, lagay natin 19, negative 19, we have 11, negative 4, and dalawang negative 1. Okay? So, answers natin dito as computed before is negative 7.98, 0.35, and negative 1. So, let's write those numbers here. Negative 7.98, 0.35, and negative 1. So, same sa positive na ginawa natin, ang pipiliin pa rin po natin is max na EMV. These are all EMV, guys. Expected monetary value. So, max EMV. Negative 7.98 versus 0.35 versus negative 1. Basically, this will be 0.35. Since siya lang yung nag-iisang positive. This is the reason why pinili natin kanina ito as the value, no, sa loob ng node na yan. Last, for the no survey. Ito, sa no survey tayo, ang ating probabilities are 0.6 and 0.4. So, lagay tayo ng tatlo. Let's write here 0.6 plus 0.4. For the values, mamaya na lang. 0.6 plus 0.4. 0.6 plus 0.4. Okay. For the values sa loob, values are 20, negative 18, 12, negative 3, and dalawang 0 dito. So, let's write here 20, negative 18, 12, negative 3, and dalawang 0. So, answers for this are negative 4.8 and 6, and of course, 0. No? So, lagay natin, negative 4.8 ba yun? 4.8 lang pala. Dito pa rin, ma-extend pala yung 9. So, positive 4.8 and 6, tapos 0. So, same sa positive survey and sa no survey, ang pipiliin pa rin po natin is the maximum expected monetary value. 4.8 versus 6 versus 0, basically this is 6. Ayan yung reason kung bakit 6 ang nakalagay dito. I hope you get it, guys. Now, next natin nakukuhanin is the EMV of the survey. Okay, what is the EMV ng survey? Ito yung etong part na ito. Ito, how do we come up with 7.42? Actually, ito po yan. No, itong part na yan. EMV of the survey ang tawag dyan. And ang pinanggalingan ng computation is the sum product nito, 0.58 times 12.54 plus 0.42 times 0.35. That is for the conduct. And para mapili natin yung maximum EMV or the maximum expected monetary value for the survey, i-versus natin yung mga kuha natin dyan dito sa 6 na nakuha natin. Which is, ang expected is 7.42. Let's write here para lang meron kayong solution, no? So, 0.58, mababalik ang notes, times 12.54 plus 0.42 times 0.35. Answer for this is 7.42. Yung sa kabila, no, 1 ang probability dahil wala namang binigay, times 6. Ito yung sa none, yung walang survey. Ito po yan. Ito. Okay. And this is equivalent to 6. So, pipiliin natin for the max EMV of survey. So, max EMV ng survey. 7.42 versus 6. Basically, this is 7.42 rin. Okay? So, meaning, guys, what is the meaning of this? 7,420, since this is, these numbers are all in thousands dollars. We have 7,420 expected na gain, expected gain if the survey is conducted. Okay, so ayun yung lamang ng survey. 7,420. Ito yung expected na gain natin if ever na we will conduct this survey. Now, let's have the table, no? Let's set up the table for expected value of sample information. So, ito na yung EVSI na tinatawag, no? Actually, EMV to conduct is ano yun? Total value with the cost of survey, conduct, and none. Ano po yun? Saan po siya nanggaling? Unahin natin siguro itong EMV na lang sa conduct. Ano yung EMV ulit pag nag-conduct tayo? Ito, no? 7.42. Sinlin dito sa ating decision tree. 7.42. So, isulat natin yan dito. 7.42. EMV kapag hindi tayo nag-conduct ng survey, that is 6. So, let's write it here. 6. Ano po yung cost? Kapag nag-conduct, we have $1,000. Naalala? Yung binigay na cost, ito, cost of survey. Okay. 1. Kapag walang survey, malamang wala ding cost. Okay? Now, the total is 7.42 plus 1. Dahil ayun yung cost eh. Diba? 7.42 plus 1. This is 8.42. Now, sa none naman, 6 plus 0. Basically, this is 6. Meaning to say, guys, 8.42 minus 6, that is 2.42. Ayun po yung tinatawag natin na expected value of sample information. The difference if we conduct the survey and if we don't conduct the survey. Now, EVSI. Or this is $2,420. Now, the conclusion here is, since ayun na yung naging conclusion, ayun na yung naging solution rather. The conclusion now is Alfred should conduct the survey and expect a gain of 7,420 as stated on the previous slide for the company. If the result is positive, he should launch tied with Zonrox. Saan ito nakuha? Balik tayo sa decision tree. If di ba, conduct na nga daw. Go, sige, mag-survey ka. If the decision is positive, he should launch tied with Zonrox. Ito po yung kanina, yung dinoblehan kong guhit. Ayan, mag-launch siya ng tied with Zonrox. If the result is negative, he should launch tied with Downy. Okay, check natin sa decision tree. Kapag negative daw, kapag nandito yung result, ang pipiliin is tied with Downy. Dahil ayun yung EMV natin. Maximum EMV, 0.35. Ito. Hindi ko siya na-doble ng line. Pero ilagay na rin natin. Para mark nyo as ito yung pipiliin. If ever na nag-negative yung survey. So, meaning, hihintayin muna nila na makita yung result ng survey. No? Positive or negative sa market. Kapag positive, ang ila-launch is tied with Zonrox. Kapag negative, ang ila-launch is tied with Downy. So, ganun mag-desisyon, no, na quantitatively. Now, the expected value of sample information is 2,420. Ito yung 2.42 EVSI computed natin before compared to the cost of only 1,000. Meaning, win-win pa rin tayo. Okay pa rin tayo. No, if i-conduct natin yung survey. Kaya dito, sabi niya, so, the survey should be conducted. Okay? So, mag-survey daw kayo. Wala kayong risk doon if ever man napakaliit, no, dahil panalo tayo quantitatively speaking. Okay? That is, guys, our model number 2, the decision trees with revised probabilities. I hope na-realize ninyo kung bakit siya tinawag na revised probabilities rather than conditional one. No, and sana malinaw yung pagkaka-explain and step by step talaga. Again, decision analysis, decision trees with revised probabilities. So our next discussion will be the application of these decision trees with revised probabilities in the POMQM software. I hope you learn, guys, from this presentation, and I'm looking forward na ma-appreciate ninyo yung value ng subject, and of course, ma-master ninyo somehow yung subject, no? Operations, research. Thank you for being with me sa presentation na to, and keep safe always. See you on our next discussion. Goodbye and enjoy the rest of the day. Enjoy the rest of the week.